Hey, everybody, welcome to It's Okay to Be Okay. I am Crystal here with Jen and Melissa. And today we are going to talk about expectations and maybe even a little story from Melissa about pigeon death. So, not really sure, but that's where we're starting today and we'll see where it goes.
All right, expectations. I think we form expectations without even realizing we're doing it. We start something new, get a new job, or start do getting out, expecting that it's just going to roll out for us. Or see, I don't even know where I was going. Like, expectations can really, I find myself getting caught up in expectations that I didn't even realize I had. Okay. Like, we decide we're going to do something. At least me, I'll decide, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I expect myself to know what I'm doing when I've never done it before. And then I get mad at myself because I don't meet these unrealistic expectations. But when I step back and look, it's like I created this expectation, knowing damn well that I have no idea what I'm doing, that I'm making it up as I go and trying to find and these expectations show up, and it's like, I didn't even realize I had them, but I'm beating myself up over not reaching them, not living up to them. But I had no way to actually reach them in the amount of time that I had given myself, if that makes sense. You know, I'll use my job. I'll use my job. First time ever working in an office, first time ever working with like people. And I expected myself to just know what I'm doing. I've only sat on the other side of that desk before. And sitting on the other side of that desk, I still search for my own stuff because what I was getting wasn't helping me. So for me to put the expectation on myself that I should just know how to help people instantly, it's like, then I'm in my head thinking about, well, I have to say the right thing. I have to tell them the right, teach the right coping skill or teach the right questions to ask yourself when you're in a spiral or having an episode. And when I'm in my head telling myself I have to figure out what to say to help these people, I have nothing to say. Because what I say is wrong? And so the expectation kind of puts me down into this little box with no tools. And then I get mad at myself and beat myself up for not meeting my expectations that I didn't even realize I had.
It's like the expectations is like a blood clot. The flow can't come through.
Yeah. I like that.
Mm. That's what I was seeing as you were talking. I was just seeing this like clotting and that narrowing of the light. And we have nothing to say because our attention is on the expectation. And I guess expectation is another form of comparison, right?
Yes.
Because it's comparing against a version of you can see in your head that you expect it to be. So that's, again, it's comparison without even realizing.
It's funny you say that because I literally had that thought this morning about how expectations just lead to comparison. And a lot of times, you know, expectations, like you said, Jen, we make them up.
Mhm.
There are expectations. Um, and the thing about expectations and another thing I thought about too was sometimes we think, mm, this person has so many expectations of me, like Jen, you in your new job, and but to what point are we like taking those expectations and making them more? Like, even though, let's say, your job comes with these certain things you have to do, certain
Mhm.
expectations, but then in your mind, it's like, oh, well, shoot, I don't know if I'm meeting that expectation, that expectation. Am I doing this right? Like you said, am I doing that right? You know, all of those different things. And the only thing that does like your blood clot there, Melissa, is add stress. Stress. And that's that little blood clot of stress that's constricting the flow of everything else. And yeah,
I love that you say that, Crystal, because yes, at my job, there's certain expectations of how I have to be, right? Yet there's a time frame to learn these and to meet these, which I found out I am doing. I'm a little above, but I get so in my head. My poor boss. My poor boss. I get in my head and then I go into his office and I'm like, "Look, you have to tell me if I'm fucking up. You can't not tell me if I'm doing my job wrong. So what am I doing wrong?" He's like, What brought this on? You're not doing anything wrong." And it's like, "Okay, well, you have to tell me if I'm fucking up." And he's like, "Don't worry. If you fuck up, we will tell you." And it's like, "Okay." And then, like, with the clients, it's just when I can drop out of that and just show up and just show up, I'm open and they can feel that. And then it really doesn't matter what we talk about because they're in a safe, calming environment that they can feel. And in that softness, they open up. And when I can settle into that softness, I can hear them. Not hear what they're saying, but hear what they're needing, hear what's blocking, and then, we can connect. But when I walk in there thinking I'm not meeting expectations or have expectations, I freeze up and I'm not able to open and create that environment, even if my expectation is to create a safe space. The expectation just gets in the way and creates added thinking that keeps me from being present.
Yeah, I do the same thing as in because I'm not very good at small talk. I'm not very good at that first part of a conversation, introducing or like even with people I know. Like I suck at that. Even with you, Jen, even like speaking to you on here, I'm like, I don't know what to say. No, it's like I get really awkward, but that's because I'm thinking about it. But then once I'm in the conversation, that falls away, and then I'm in this flow. But it is that kind of that first bit. It's like I have a blood clot, and then it's there, and then all of a sudden that the blood then pushes it out, and then it's fine, and then. But yeah, it's that expectation of I should know how to articulate myself. I should know how to start a conversation. I should know how to connect with people, and I can once the conversation gets into it. But it's like you can't get into the conversation until you start.
I am the same way, Melissa. I hate the small talk. Like at my last job, I spent 5 years, well, I guess maybe 4 years, talking to people every day. But I skipped the what's your name? Didn't ever know their name because it's awkward for me and I don't know how to, you watch kids and kids just walk up to each other on the playground and they're like, "Hey, I like this. Well, I like this. Want to be friends? Yes.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, all of a sudden they're best. Hey, you want to be my best friend? Heck
Yes.
yeah, I do.
And I used to
And
do that when I was younger. When I was drinking,
Hmm.
all that walls would go down, and I would literally be the most confident person out there. I would just go talk to anyone. I didn't give a shit, which is why drank. So I know it's in me because alcohol or whatever doesn't. It only what's that word? It only accentuates what you already are. Doesn't change you. So I know it's there, but it's like then that thinking gets involved in, like, you're thinking about yourself, self-consciousness, and you're thinking about how they're thinking about you, and then you're not present in the conversation to start with because you're thinking about how they're thinking about you.
yeah,
And it's like you've got no energy to hear them. You've got no energy to give the conversation because most of your energy is elsewhere.
trying to live up to an expectation of you should like me. You should at least have good thoughts about me because, I think I think I'm a good person and I want you to think I'm a good person and yeah, I get so caught up in all of that and if it was up to me to start conversations, I would die. I would die of loneliness like I cuz I don't know what it is about, "Hi, my name's Jen and blah blah blah." Like fucking no. No.
It's cringe. Like I used to like have these daydreams, and I used to like wish that like a psychic would come over, and like there'd be a big room of people, and the psychic would come over to me and be like telling everyone like who I am and like what they see in me, and like everyone understands me now. I don't have to worry about that. And it would be such as like, and I still get that sometimes. I'm like, someone's gonna come over and show everyone who I am without me having to share it. And it's like, what is that?
Hmm. So a little bit of what I heard, you guys tell me what you think of this. Expectations on ourself leads to a little bit of performance, pretending,
Uh-huh.
the masks, the trying to fit in, the how do I start this conversation? How do I say my name is Jen? My name's not Jen. Um, but it's like, okay, we get in our head, and then here's our performance script, so to say, like, "Ooh, okay, I'm ready. Hey, my name's Crystal. How are you? Um, do you want to be friends? Like,
Right.
I get it. But I was just hearing there's that, and I've never seen that before. There's a bit of performance when it comes to expectations.
There is, because you're trying to portray something that you think for so much of my life, I tried to portray the person that I thought you wanted me to be.
Yes. Yeah.
And holy shit, how much of that is made up? Because I don't know who the hell you want me to be. And I mean, even with you guys, though, I think we skipped the small little small talk because
We
we were
do.
in class together. And then it was just like, holy shit, I remember you, and you're not as fucked up as you used to be. We should have a conversation.
I don't really think I put it quite like that, Jen, but I love the paraphrasing anyway.
And, like, I was talking about my husband with this yesterday when we went and had lunch and we spent the day together. And it's like, I remember all the time I spent imagining what my life could be, setting, like when I was in prison, setting expectations of, well, I won't do this and I'm going to do this and and I mean, I had nothing but time in there. So I would whole scenes and of how my life was going to be when I got out of prison. in all different scenarios. And like I told my husband yesterday, if everything I ever thought, I ever imagined, never ever did I imagine I'd be where I'm at right now. And nothing I ever imagined could even compare to the life I'm living right now.
Yeah, because we can
So,
only imagine at the level that we're at.
yes, yes, and the contentment and the happiness and the knowing that I don't have to pretend in any way. And the comfortability I have found within myself, just being myself. I never imagined I could have it. So it's like we set expectations and we plan out our lives and then we get upset when they don't go exactly how we wanted. And some of us get caught in that it didn't go how I wanted, that we miss out on the fact that it's so much better than we ever imagined.
Yeah. We don't realize that sometimes that when it doesn't go right, it's pointing us to a better life. You know, like we're
Yes.
here, we can only see at this level, but our higher consciousness, our higher selves, or whatever you want to call it, is up on the top of the mountain and can see the whole fucking landscape. And it's taking you exactly where you want to go. And we're very stubborn and we want to go, but I want to go that way. No, but no, I want to go that way. I don't care there's thorns there. I want to go that way. Um, and that is that letting go. That's that trust. That's that letting the life take you where you want. Like right now, I'm not where I want to be, but right now I know that I'm learning the skills that I need to be where I want to be. I'm learning compassion. I'm learning patience. I'm learning to trust. All these things that I know are going to be so beneficial to me for the life that I want or the life that the universe wants to give me because I can feel it. I can feel my soul wanting to expand. But I know that I need to learn things on the way. And that's a part of the game.
Yes. And, you know, when I left my factory job in July, last July, I expected to get clients coaching. I expected to be able to make it on my own, starting my own business. And I expected, and my expectations weren't met. So when it came time that I had to get a job, I expected to hate it. I expected not to feel like I failed because I didn't do what I had wanted to do. I didn't meet my expectations. And yet I ended up getting a job that put me exactly with the population of people that I want to work with. So expectations, I think we make expectations thinking that we're setting a goal.
Hmm.
And there's a very big difference between a goal and an expectation.
Love that.
So funny because I was gonna say how I was gonna ask you guys what you thought about that expectation and goals, and what do you think the difference is?
A goal is a direction and a destination. Like, I would like to get here. Expectation is, I'm going to get here by doing this, this, and this. But here's the thing, I didn't meet my expectations when I left my last job, when I was on my own. And I had to get a job, and I thought that I'd failed. Yet, here I am right at my goal. There's different ways. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like an expectation as well is also something that we will struggle, that we will have suffering if we don't meet it.
Yeah.
So goals can quite easily turn into expectations. Like
Yes.
if we don't reach it, oh, I'm gonna suffer now. Now it's no longer a goal, now it's an expectation, and now it's like that needs to happen, otherwise I'm not gonna be happy, you know? But a goal, it is just direction, like you were saying. And that direction can change and grow and bend, and you can flow with it and grow with it, and that's amazing. But yeah, when expectation comes into it, and expectation can fall in all categories. You can have expectations on people as well. Like
Yeah.
that's when we say like people don't actually love unconditional because there's always a condition, which is an expectation, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So that brings me to two things: goals and expectations. Very close. Yeah. Very similar to each other. But both of them have this one little problem: emotional attachment.
Yeah.
When you are emotionally attached to an expectation or to a goal, therefore that creates the whole I didn't achieve it. I'm failing at life. I really suck at this. Why are things not going my way? Because we're too emotionally tied to what happens to this future that we don't control in the first place. So they're so similar. And yeah, Crystal forgot the other thing.
Well, it's a bit like, so I'm seeing something in my head again. I'm seeing this little toy, you twist it around and then it goes off. It's like that's our goal, but then we've got these like strings that are attached to him, which are our emotions. And it's those emotional attachments that's keeping it there.
Yeah, I remember what I was going to say. The other thing is communication and expectations. There is the failure to communicate. And it's so funny, the failure to communicate expectations to other people, and sometimes even this might sound a little weird, but stay with me, communicating that expectation to ourselves properly. That's communication and expectations on other people that we have on other people that we don't ever tell them we have. And then we say, well, I'm pissed at you. Jen, I'm so pissed at you because you called me at 8:30 and not 8. What the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to know what I expect. Or, Melissa, you didn't hop on here. I'm the one that's always late. I expected you to be here. So, yep, now I'm mad. But that's just all made up thinking in my head about what I think and how I think that things should play out. And that's just the part we don't control. So the sooner that we see that we have no control over expectations, then and the failure to communicate within ourselves, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, that's why me and Dave have such a beautiful relationship
mhm.
because we learn how to communicate
Yes.
like at a deep level, like not just like, a proper communicating, even if it's uncomfortable style thing. And I would just, I feel like communication is the biggest thing that people can do, not just in relationships, friendships, strangers.
Mhm.
Because we are all in our own different realities, and by communicating, you're showing them what reality you're in and what they're in, and then you can kind of like step into each other's shoes, and then you can kind of see things. Like that's why I don't take things so seriously anymore with other people because I can literally feel like I can step into their shoes. I can see their thinking, I can see their behavior, and it's it just lets go of so much shit that you don't like. Today, my cousin come round and he was supposed to be around at 10 and it got to like half past. And initially I was like, you should have been here by now. And then I was like, fuck it. Let it go. Who cares? And it doesn't mean not setting boundaries for yourself. That's where Crystal, that goes with knowing your own expectations and your own um, values and things like that. Yeah, I'm just rambling now.
No, but that was a good point. The boundaries was a good point because yeah, it doesn't mean that we can't have boundaries. Doesn't mean that we can't have. I'm looking for a different word beside expectations. It doesn't mean that we can't have expectations. We can just as long as one we are not like expecting somebody else to absolutely know what we're thinking if we don't communicate it ever. Because, like you're saying, it's not just relationships, it's all kinds of relationships. It's friendships, it can be work related, it can be with your children, it can be, shoot, it can be with your pets. Okay. Like expectations. So, if we're not properly communicating to each other, yeah, no, that's a really big breakdown point for a lot of relationships and why there's so many misunderstandings and disagreements, arguments that take place is because we just don't say, "Hey, this is what I expect." And you know what? I even when I say that, I'm like, "Well, who cares?" Right? Because just because I expect something does not mean that they should meet my expectations ever. So, yeah, I think it's that communication, like you were saying there, Melissa, between you and Dave, how you meet each other where you're at. There's that ground, that perfect level ground where you can be free to say what you expect and he can be free to say what he expects and you communicate beautifully instead of hey, let's play the guessing game of what this person wants me to do, say, think, act, wear, whatever, all of it.
Well, and I love that because without communication, we create our own version of what we think other people's expectations of us are, and a lot of times we're really hard on ourselves. And so if I think you expect this of me, and then I'm trying so hard to live up to that expectation, and I fuck everything all up, and then you come and you're like, what the hell is going on? Why'd you do this? Well, I thought you thought. A little
Yes.
bit of communication could have totally cleared all that up. And so, yeah, communication is a huge thing. And when it comes to expectations, set the bar low. Set the bar low, especially for other people, because we have to take into consideration that there is a whole lot going on in every other person's lives that we have no idea about. Because even if we're in the same physical space, our experience is so much different. You know, I don't know all of the stuff that my kids are going through. They're in the same house as me, but I don't know their inner experience. I don't know what expectations they feel like they're not meeting. So like when I come in and I have expectations of you need to do this, this, and this, and it needs to be this good, and why the fuck can't you just do what I want you to do? Well, they're going through a whole thing. Their inner experience is not the same as mine. And sometimes we don't take that into consideration, and we ask a lot of people who may not necessarily be able to give us what we expect from them. I don't know if that made sense. But a lot of times we expect more from people than what they can actually give at the time because we do not take into consideration the separate realities and what their inner experience is. and we feed off of our own inner experience and our reality.
Yeah,
And
we
it's
think
not the
everyone's
same.
seeing the same filter that we're seeing through.
Yeah. And it's not the same. We might be looking at the same object, but we're seeing different things.
Well, let's maybe let's hear your pigeon story, Melissa.
Yep. Me and my friend killed a pigeon today.
It's but funny, and I'm not laughing because of that.
It was do you know what? It was really I had a really nice insight from it, but we were walking the dogs and we come across this field and there was this pigeon on the floor and I was like, "Oh, it's not moving. It's just laying there." And then the dogs went over to it and it started flapping its wings and we went over to him. We could see that it's obviously injured. We thought maybe it would hurt its wing or something. And then we picked it up and then like one of his eyes had gone and there was blood on it, but it was still alive and it was still like trying to flap away and was like, "Oh, I can't just leave it there." We felt really bad. We just couldn't just leave it there to die. So my friend knew someone that took care of birds, like brought them back to brought them back to health and stuff. So kind of carried on walking for a bit and then cut the walk short. And then we went to her house. No one answered, and she messaged her, and then she was like, "Oh, there's." I'm away at the minute and I'm not taking in on any birds for like 6 months. And we both kind of like, she got back in the car and we got to hers and we both looked at each other and like, we could both see like the tears like thinking, because like we know what's going to happen next. It's like, we can't care for it. We don't know how it, and it looked, and it's like heads was blobbing. So, it was like, it was really it was not in a good way. And we were just like, we've got to put it out of its misery. And I started like really like dwelling up. It's like, "I don't want to do this." And she didn't want to do it. But she did it. And so obviously we put it out of its misery. And then she was dropping me off and the car journey was a bit quiet. And then I was like, I just had this amazing insight, and I started telling her, I was like, um, I can't even remember what it was now. It was just like, this was meant to happen because that's the nature of life. We come in, we go out. Anyway, I can't remember the quote. I wrote a post about it. And then as soon as I started saying it, she was like, "I just got that same thing. I just got that same insight." And I was like, wow. And then instantly like that guilt, that heaviness kind of like lifted off. And I did a sort of like we speak about this all the time about the ocean and then the wave. We have this ocean and the wave, and that wave is individual for a moment and then it goes back in. And yeah, I don't know the words to use to describe the feeling I had in that insight, but it was just this, it's okay. That is the nature of life. You know, Plants, they grow and they blossom and then they die and then they come up again. And then it was just, I'm getting a lot lately around death. Like I'm getting a lot of insights around it, and this was another one. So yeah, that was my kind of story for today.
But you just went with it because I bet you weren't expecting to have to help a pigeon cross that bridge today.
No. And I said to her, I said, I feel like we was meant to find the pigeon. Obviously, otherwise we wouldn't have.
Mhm.
But it was just a lesson. Like sometimes you're not meant to save it. Sometimes you don't have the ability to save something or someone, or sometimes all you can be is be a witness. And it just kind of showed me like death. But I know that we Westerners are so afraid of death and afraid of talking about death, but there's a beauty in it as well. And my eyes are fully open to that beauty. And I want to share that. with people. I want to share that energy of there's nothing to fear, you know? I know it's kind of a triggering topic for many.
I don't know if it's as triggering as it is scary to people, if that makes sense.
Mm,
Just the whole, like, they don't like to think about it
yeah, but it's only us in
because
the
it's
Western.
true, because it's the unknown factor
Hmm.
and it's the, mortality factor. And we think we're invincible, whether, factor to a point until shit happens. And then it's like, holy crap, I'm not invincible. I don't have control over everything. And so, yeah, I think it just becomes more of there's so many different things that are involved with somebody being okay with death that it's really hard to pinpoint which one, right?
Hmm.
I expect it to be this. It might not be that. It could be something
Right.
totally different. And so, yeah, no, it is a tricky little topic.
Yeah, but I wanna. That's like one of I don't know why. Obviously, it keeps coming to me for a reason. I keep getting insights about it. I keep having this urge to talk about it, and I keep pushing it back down. Like, no, people aren't ready for that. No, I'm not ready for that. You know, and I'm like, no, I'm getting these messages for a reason, and I want to start sharing it. I want to start sharing my insights and stop being afraid of sharing that and sharing what I think. And yeah, that's why I love this podcast as well. Like, because I get to share what I've seen. And yeah, I'm passionate about it, and that's that whole kind of letting go of expectations of people are going to judge me, expectations of people are going to think I'm cold, but I'm not cold at all. I feel so much.
I love it because and I think that if it keeps coming to you and it keeps coming to you, yeah, absolutely. Get curious, explore it, lean into it, love it.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing the same thing and with grief. And I just now opened up a space on my website for people with grief. And it doesn't have to be the loss of a loved one, but I do know what that is like. Um, and do you know how long I've pushed that away?
Mm-hmm. I know.
So long because I'm like, ooh, such a tricky. Because
I
I know
remember when
how
we
I felt.
first. I remember when we first started talking, and I said to you about doing grief. And you're like, nah.
Yeah. I'm
That
like,
was
yep,
like,
yep.
yeah. That's like how long ago?
Don't want to
And I
go
could
there.
see it straight away. And I was like, why don't you do it? And you're like, nah. So I love
Yeah,
that. I love that you're opening that up.
yeah. I do too. I am excited about it because it's not just, uh, Jane. I love Jane. And I talk to her on a pretty much weekly basis. And she's like, Crystal, you don't always have to talk to the person that just lost somebody because for me, that is in my experience, that's the tricky area. She's like, you can talk to other people too, the people who aren't sure how to communicate or be around or, you know, with somebody who just lost because they too don't know what to say, don't know what to do, don't know like any of that stuff. And it's a guessing game a lot. And I was like, oh, you know what? You're right. So yeah, that space is Crystal decided to quit ignoring it and just open up a space
Hmm.
for it. What happens? So that's all there is to it.
That's the thing. I mean, we can't be that lighthouse if we're not willing to shine the light, right?
Absolutely.
If we keep the curtains closed, no one can see the light. That's the whole point, and that create that means courage. That means bravery of being
That
seen.
means that means quit worrying about what other people think, drop your expectations, and just follow those nudges that you know keep coming from wisdom, mind, whatever you wanna say there.
Yeah.
Because it's just gonna keep saying, "No, yeah, you're gonna do it," and I keep "No, I'm not. Mm-mm."
That's what I mean, like, every time it just keeps coming up. I'm like, "Really? Does it have to be such a big subject that I have to talk about? Really?" But it keeps
Yes.
coming up, and it's always with a really beautiful feeling.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah. I'm the one would turn it into a, that's an icky feeling," or "That's an icky topic. I don't know if I wanna do that." Even if it would come with the most beautiful feeling, I'm like, "Ooh." People
Mhm.
are gonna be like, "Wow, that's icky. Stop making up expectations and what people think in my head."
Yeah.
So, yeah, nope, I just said, "Fuck it."
I love that. Because, Crystal, you'll be able to help so many people. And
And, I
just,
feel that, Jen, so
yeah, I'm really excited about that for you.
Mhm. Me
You know,
too.
yes. Melissa, I did not so, yeah, I wanna encourage you to just explore that because we can't be afraid of those topics, right? We can't be afraid of our experience and the things that we see around death and grieving and loss and all those things. We can't be afraid. I mean, we can, but then how are we, like Jen's saying, how are we shining that beautiful light for people? How are we helping them through some of the darkest times? How are we helping if we're just
Yeah. It's like that conversation I had with I had a conversation in the DMs with someone, and I was scared to say what I said to her. But do you know what? Because I was like, because she's not like a spiritual person that I know of, like with background or whatever. And I just like, no, I'm just gonna say what I think. And then at the end, she said, you know, what did she say? She said something like, have you considered being a counselor? Because I've had loads of doctors and that, and this is the first time anyone's ever said it like that, and it just made me feel so much better. And I'm like, that's because I was not afraid to say what it was. Like, law of attraction, and I'm very spiritual, and the whole, like, I do believe that we are just all consciousness, and we come here for an experience, and we know what's going to happen. We know who we're going to be born to. We know where we're going to be born to, and I do see this as a game. Life is a game. It's very, we get very stuck into it. But all of this, like, I just see such a, I see so much, and I hide it away, and I'm not going to do that anymore.
that's awesome.
Mm. And even that, like, I can feel the fear come up. Just to have no filter on what I say. Like, I'm so used to filtering what I say. Yeah, remove the filter.
Yeah, what I've noticed for like myself and when I try to edit what I say and use words that aren't
Softer.
yes, yes. Um it doesn't land as well. But when I get in that feeling and I just open my mouth and shit comes out, I don't know what it is because I didn't sit there and think about it and switch the words to try to make it. I just speak. That's when the people hear it. And like a lot of the people I work with are not, for them to hear something, it's not always an easy feat, if that makes sense, because you got to get through the rest of the stuff that they're hearing that no one else can hear. The stories that they tell themselves that they don't even realize they're telling themselves. And when we filter and edit ourselves, we're not hitting the right words that they need to hear.
Mm.
But when we show up and we're present with someone and we truly listen, it's like there's no thinking involved and there's no thinking about what you say afterwards involved. And that's when it hits. You got to drop the expectations of, I'm going to help these people and I'm going to help make their lives better. And you can't do shit. You can point.
Mm.
You can point, and you point with words. And when you edit your words and try to make it sound pretty, they can't see where you're pointing. Like that wisdom, when we connect to our wisdom, when we're with someone and we just let that speak, it knows the exact words that that other person needs to hear. And when we have that come up and then we're like, oh, well, I don't think, I expect that's going to make them feel a certain way. So I better change this. There's expectations screwing up our pointing.
Yep. Yep. I used to do it all the time on social media. I would have this insight, powerful insight. I'd write it all out and like, oh, I don't know, that's a bit too aggressive, or that's a bit too whatever I was thinking. And then I try to condense it down, or like I try to soften it up, or change the words, even though that I'm very passionate. So I swear a lot. you know that's just me because I'm very passionate. It comes out in swear words, but I will say things that, like, you are creating your reality, or your suffering is coming from you, that kind of thing. That's like direct pointing. There's no softening of it, and then I soften it up. And then when I read it back, I'm like, no, it doesn't feel right. But then I'm like, that doesn't feel right, doesn't feel aligned. That feels aligned, but that feels scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll never feel right if it's coming from a place other than presence, other than wisdom. It's not. It will never land the same. Nobody will hear it, like Jen said. It has to be coming from not our intellect, not those beautiful polished words, not the perfect articulation, not because they're just words anyway.
Mm.
They're just words that we're trying to use to point because yes, it's on them. We can point and point and point, but we can't shove.
Yep.
And so yeah, it's absolutely a presence thing and just not in the moment. Stay out of your own way.
Yeah.
Stay out of your own way. That self-conscious. Stop being so conscious about yourself
Yes.
and just be.
Mm.
Well, it's like the other day with a client, as soon as I heard it come out of my mouth, I expected them to be offended. Because I was like, you listen way too much to the shitty committee running things upstairs. And I expected this person to just be like, excuse me? Because I didn't think before I spoke. And then I heard it come out of my mouth and I was like, oh, fuck. And the lady like looked at me wide eyed and stunned for a minute. And she's like, that shitty committee runs the show most of the time. And just went with it. But she understood that. And it there was a crack and it made her smile. And she was like, oh my God, the shitty committee is like in charge most of the time. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we just got to start to recognize it because that shitty committee's been running it for so long that you don't even realize when they're in control. But
And
oh
I
my
feel like
Yeah.
goodness.
as well,
Yeah, go
now,
ahead.
I feel like as well, like after I got that message from that woman, um, the right people will hear you. So, like when you have a reaction, you know that that's not the right person. If you know what I mean, like you've probably um put yourself in their line of work to try and help them, but they haven't actually asked for your help. But if someone's coming to you asking for your help, then they are the right vibrational match, which is why they've come to you. And then whatever you say is going to be the right, like you said, there's going to be the right words for them. And I really saw that with that.
I think this is a good spot. How about you guys?
Yeah, is there anything else anyone wants to say?
I think we've said a lot. Go ahead, Jen.
Like, share, comment.
Oh.
Oh.
Leave us a message. Make sure to subscribe. That's all I was going to say.
I'll leave with a message. Death is not scary. Death is just the wave going back into the ocean. We forget that we are the ocean. We are the ocean. We are that infinite intelligence of life, and have fun with this life, because like a wave, it's only there for a small amount of time. And stop letting your thinking control you. That's it.
Yeah. And I'll say something on expectations. Quit attaching them to your wrist and carry him around and drag him around all day long. That little handcuff that you've got that is just taking it with you, release it, let it go, and just see what comes up. And stop worrying.
And just start to notice. Notice where your expectations are at and notice where they're coming from. Notice if you're deciding what other people are thinking. Notice if you're deciding how you feel other people should behave or act or experience life. Just notice them. Because when we notice them, they lose their grip a little bit.
And don't forget to forgive and love and have fun.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thanks a lot, guys.